Hey, beautiful souls, it's Milani Ayana. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are not, welcome back. Today I'm talking about something near and dear to my heart, which is self-love. And loving yourself it's not just about saying it, right? It's about showing it through your actions and your decisions. And there are certain things that we just would not do if we truly loved ourselves. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 10 things that you would not do if you truly loved yourself. Let's get into it. Number one is tolerating toxic relationships. If you loved yourself, right, you wouldn't stay in relationships, whether romantic or platonic, that drain you, make you feel small, don't support you, don't serve your growth. Loving yourself means setting boundaries and, protecting your peace. And if someone doesn't respect that, you walk away. It's not easy, but your peace is worth it. And the most important thing about toxic relationships is that they will teach you more about yourself than they will teach you about that other person. Because you'll begin to question why am I tolerating this? Why did I think this, equates to love? What is my true definition of love? It will really start to expose parts about yourself that are also toxic, that related to that person. So if you really truly loved yourself and you knew that you are not happy in a situation with any relationship and you're not happy at all, and you don't feel, honored, you don't feel considered, you don't feel, seen in your relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic, that is something that you wouldn't do if you truly loved yourself, because you would rather be with someone than to be alone and peaceful and really truly in alignment with what you want. Because the people that truly love themselves would rather be single than to put up with anybody's BS just to say they have a man or just to say they have a woman, right? No. Number two is putting yourself last. And this kind of goes hand in hand with toxic relationships. But loving yourself means knowing that you deserve to be your number one priority. If you are a spiritual, religious person, you know that God is first. And you're first up next. Over family, over your partner, over your job, over every single thing, you are your number one priority. If you're constantly putting everyone else first, you're ignoring your needs. And that's a form of people pleasing, right? Self-love teaches us to take care of ourselves just as much as we take care of others. And it's okay to say no. Take the time for you sometimes. It's okay to say no. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to switch up your habits. Sometimes you have relationships with people and things that align with an older version of yourself. If you've been doing it for the last 10 years and today you woke up and said, no, I don't want to do that anymore, and it completely changed your, relationships with your job, your inner circle, your people, your partner, whatever it is, that is a sign that you are putting yourself first. That's what putting yourself first looks like. Another example, if someone said, oh, I want to go to the club tonight, let's go at 10:30, and you knew that you wanted to be in bed by that time, and you still decided to go because you were afraid to lose that friendship or to miss out on that great night or whatever you guys were going to experience. If that means putting your needs to the back burner just to experience whatever you think you're going to get, you're putting yourself last. And putting yourself last is something that you wouldn't do if you truly loved yourself. Number three, accepting less than you deserve, right? Self-love means knowing your worth and not accepting anything less than you deserve. Whether it's in your career, your relationships, or your personal goals, if you truly loved yourself, you wouldn't settle for things that don't align with your values or things that make you feel less than what you are. You deserve the best, and it's okay to go after it, right? If someone tells you oh, you need to lower your standards, or you're not worth $80,000 salary, you're only worth $65,000, right? Knowing your own worth, what your skills are, what you can contribute, what you are trying to bring into this world, bring into this life. If you have a set standard for your life and you want to live your life a certain way, anything and anybody that does not align with that and is offering you less than that, and you decide to take it, that says more about you than it says about them. And the fact that you are even open to entertaining this sometimes goes to show that there is an issue there with self-love. And listen, guys, like, I've had issues with self-love before. You know, people that I'm close to, everyone, we're humans. Like, we are not perfect beings. Like, our emotions, jealousy, envy, like, all of those things do exist. But at the end of the day, you are deserving of the things that you are asking for. And if anything that you are offered is less than that, and you accept it, you don't really value the things that you think you do. 4, speaking negatively about yourself. Words are powerful, and when you love yourself, you choose to speak to yourself kindly. That means no more negative self-talk. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I'm constantly growing and I'm proud of where I am. Your words completely shape your reality. Your parents could have been your bullies, your, childhood friends could have been your bullies. Even people nowadays in their grown adult age are bullies, right? So people are always going to have something negative to say. And I think that growing up, we have become comfortable with this negative feedback or the negativity. And so we internalize that and we talk to ourselves like that. Like, oh no, you're just fat and unworthy. Like, no, I'm being intentional about my weight loss, but I currently love myself where I'm at and I still deserve love anyways. So speak kindly to yourself. When you notice that negative self-talk, immediately out loud say to yourself, combat that with whatever it is. If it's, I'm not good enough, actually I am good enough. Who says so? I do. You have to have that kind of confidence about yourself in your life. And sometimes when you are talking to yourself like that, it even shows when you're expressing and talking to people about yourself. That is also another way to detect whether or not you're speaking negatively about yourself. So pick up on the inner dialogue and the dialogue that you are having about yourself to yourself. If you honestly loved yourself, you would treat yourself way better than you would treat anybody, because you have to live with you. And you can either be your biggest cheerleader or your own biggest hater. Number 5, ignoring your health. Your body is your temple, and self-love is reflected in how you treat it. If you loved yourself, you'd prioritize your physical health, your mental health, and your emotional health. This means eating healthier foods, moving your body, getting enough sleep, nurturing your mind. Like I said, talking to yourself a certain way. You wouldn't be ignoring the warning signs your body gives you, right? If you are aching somewhere, if you notice, you haven't been as productive, like all of these things are forms of neglect of your health. And your body is literally the vessel to experience this world in. Like, as I mentioned, you are the spirit dwelling in this body, this human body. And if you're not taking care of your body, and it's yours, like, clearly you don't love yourself, and mistakes happen, things happen, right? Like, life is not an easy thing to do and to live, right? But at the end of the day, loving yourself is reflected in how you treat yourself. So again, talking to yourself in a certain way, if you need any mental or emotional help and guidance, seek therapy. You go to the doctors to check on your teeth, to check on your body, and some don't even do that, right? But doing those things on top of seeing a therapist every once in a while, checking in with yourself, like, what are you doing to contribute to your physical health, to take care of your temple, right? Like, I am all about holistic living. Like, I went vegan about 4 years ago, and I've switched to all vegan plant-based products, right? Hygiene products, skincare, hair care, teeth care, all the things. And I eat that way as well. And I'm not saying you have to go that far, right? But you do need to be intentional about what you're eating. And you always know how something is negatively impacting your health by how your body feels after consuming it, whether that be media content, whether that be talking with someone, because some people can drain your energy as well, and those will have physical effects on your body. How you eat, when you eat certain foods, sometimes you feel energized, sometimes you don't. Really sit with yourself and prioritize your physical health, because if you loved yourself, that's what you would do. Number 6, overworking yourself, right? We live in this society of grind and hustle culture. And y'all, I can't lie and say that I'm not about that, because ultimately, I love myself enough to get up every single day and do what I need to do to achieve my goals, right? But loving yourself also means knowing when to take a break and to recharge, because you can't just go, especially if you're a woman, right? If you were truly practicing self-love, you wouldn't burn out trying to achieve everything at once. You would take your time, right? We're talking about being intentional and putting in the effort, but not overworking yourself to the point to where you're not getting enough sleep and you're neglecting your physical health and neglecting other areas in your life, right? Like, you need all of those things in order to give you the fuel to continue grinding and hustling. But just grinding and hustling, and there's no breaks, there's no recharging, there's no nothing, like, it's a lot to put on yourself, because you are limited in what you can do in 24 hours, right? So rest is just as important as productivity is. And if you're constantly running on empty, it's time to reevaluate and give yourself some grace. Number 7, avoiding your emotions. Feeling your emotions is a part of loving yourself. Physically just feeling them, that's it. Feeling them is a part of loving yourself. You wouldn't suppress your feelings or avoid the hard stuff. Loving yourself means embracing all of your emotions, whether happiness, sadness, anger. Allowing yourself to process and heal is a powerful act of self-love. And that's what feeling your emotions are all about. Like, these are your feelings that your body gave you to signal something to you about what it felt, what it experienced. And for you to neglect yourself and be like, nah, I'm good, I don't want to feel that. Like, that is you neglecting a part of yourself. Like, imagine if there was a physical version of you and you had a relationship with yourself and this was your best friend, and you told them, no, I don't want to hear all that right now. I don't want to feel that. Like, you're literally telling yourself that you don't care about yourself. Avoiding your emotions is not something that you would do if you truly loved yourself. And to neglect your emotions is to neglect yourself. Number 8, self-love means choosing growth over comfort. If you loved yourself, you wouldn't stay in situations that felt easy but hold you back. You'd take risks, you'd face your fears, and you'd step outside your comfort zone. Knowing that true growth happens when you challenge yourself. When you are choosing comfort, you are choosing stagnancy, because comfort is familiar, it's soft, it's cozy, it won't betray you, at least not directly. When you are comfortable, you don't want to move. You want to stay. You want to, get even more comfortable in that comfortable space, and that does not breed any opportunities for growth at all. It's okay to be content and happy with where you're at and the results that you came to. Like, I'm grateful right now for where I am at. But if I get comfortable here, then that means this is my ceiling, because you're not allowing yourself to grow. Imagine a plant that is growing inside of a pot, and its roots got so big that it's starting to come out of the pot, right? It's starting to lose its leaves because there's no more room to grow. And so once you take that soil and that plant and you put it into a bigger pot, it now became uncomfortable because that is a new environment. It is a new space for it to grow, right? The roots have never been that deep and that long before, and never grown that big before. And when you are choosing to grow and put yourself out there and face your fears and take the risk, that is allowing you to get familiar in new soils all the time. And that's how you stay young too. And number 9, letting fear control your decisions. Fear is natural, right? Fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay? Fear is natural. Okay? To have fear is an emotion that is natural, but it is not real. What is real is danger. If you were in the woods and you were surrounded by bears, there's something to be fearful of because the animal can get violent, it can hurt you really bad. But when you are fearful of taking a step in life, where's the danger that is creating the fear? Fear is natural, but when you love yourself, you don't let it hold you back. You wouldn't let fear stop you from chasing your dreams, stepping into your purpose, or trying new things. You trust yourself to figure it out as you go. Self-love is about trusting your inner strength. And I'm telling you, when you are reflecting on the inner dialogue that you're having with yourself, the relationship that you have with your health, and you start being intentional about these things, the ability to overcome fear becomes a lot easier, because all of the areas that breed self-confidence and the self-esteem, in order to take those steps like that, are rooted in that real love. And if you truly loved yourself, you would not be afraid to put yourself out there. You wouldn't be afraid to be seen. You wouldn't be afraid to be judged. You wouldn't be afraid for people to talk about you. You would not be afraid of whatever it is. You wouldn't be afraid to fail. You wouldn't be afraid to lose money. You wouldn't be afraid to lose relationships and family members and other opportunities. You would not let it hold you back if you truly loved who you are. Because how you put yourself out there in the world and express yourself is a reflection of self-love. How I decided to up and move to Houston because that's what I wanted to do. If I would have listened to everybody else, just stay in Cali, just stay in school, just do this and just do that, I would have been loving everybody else and putting everybody else first and putting everybody else's needs and opinions before my own. And I would have let that fear of, failing and, being judged by these people, right? And not being supported, whatever it was, I would have been fearful of it and I would have stayed where I was at. So don't let fear control you. Don't let fear control your decisions, because if you truly loved yourself, you would step into that authentic version of yourself and go after it no matter what. And number 10, comparing yourself to others. Now this is it's a doozy, okay? Because I know you guys hear this saying all the time, comparing yourself to others is the thief of joy, right? Which is true. And I think that, if you truly loved yourself, you would be celebrating your own unique journey. You would honor your process and your story, right? You wouldn't be comparing yourself to others and measuring your worth against someone else's, because what they did and the actions that they took in order to get to where they're at is a completely different hand, right? You were dealt a different hand from the Creator, right? God shuffled some playing cards and gave everybody 7 cards to experience this life. And in real life, that could look like, different opportunities. Some people were handed opportunities that you may not need to get to that same goal. Some people, you may have gotten opportunities that other people may have not needed, right? Like, you are dealt a completely different hand than somebody else. So when you're comparing yourself to others because they have the life that you want, when you are trying to play the same game with their hand that they were dealt, those are cards that they can only understand. Those are cards that they could only play and experience with the game of life. You can't play their cards, right? You guys may be able to get the same opportunities in some areas, right? But at the end of the day, each person's life is unique to their own. So no matter what, even if you guys are going after the same goal, or someone has that goal or whatever, just know that your journeys will be completely different. And I do think that it's okay to measure yourself against someone who has that life, right? Because you have to see what you need in order to elevate, right? So if somebody, like for instance for me, if somebody wanted to become a braider and they were measuring their work ethic, their commitment, their discipline, their willpower. Those are things that you can measure, because it's like, okay, I do need to step up here in this area. Okay, I do need to prioritize this in my business, or, if I want to achieve this thing, or, maybe I need to switch it up in the gym and try these exercises out, because they may have worked for someone. But when you're comparing your worth to someone else, when you're comparing your entire life to a fraction of what you are seeing in someone else's life, that means that you don't really love yourself that much. Because when you love yourself, you don't worry about what everybody else has and how they got it. You just worry about, taking the advice from the people who have what you want. But you have to apply that advice and make it work for your own life. You can't compare it to them and be like, oh, well, they got something that I didn't get, or they got something that I want. And it's like, they applied their advice, and what they had to do to get there is completely different. Maybe the starting points were different too. Like, there's so many factors that can go into why, someone has what you are trying to experience, right? So again, it's okay to look at someone else and know that there's work to be done, and take the advice, the mentorship, but do not compare your entire life to their fraction of what you're seeing, because you don't know what they experience and what they have going on. And honestly, you want your journey to be unique to you. You want your journey to specifically be catered to you, because you are simply a different person. Why would you want to be like someone else anyways? Okay? So love yourself, focus on your progress, and honor your own story, honor your own journey. Take the advice, right? But honor your journey. Self-love isn't something that just happens overnight. It's a process of unlearning harmful habits and replacing them with practices that nourish your soul, your mind, and your body. Remember, if you do these things to a friend that you love, don't do them to yourself either. Always imagine yourself being your own best friend and having that relationship with that person. And how would you treat them? How would you talk to them? How would you nourish them, right? So start practicing self-love today and watch how your life transforms. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content on personal growth and wellness. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Stay inspired and take care of your beautiful self.